At 100 kilometers per hour, the Albatross is one of nature's fastest creatures. It's also the inspiration for the Altross, its namesake. It's ironic then that Tata have been so slow in making one available for us to test. If you remember, we actually experienced it back in December last year. Heck, that was a time when you could be still arrested for walking into a bank with a mask on. A proper comparison was on the cards, but today we have with us the BS6 diesel. And right now it's the only diesel available in the segment. That is until the updated Jazz and the all-new i20 come out. The Toyota Glanza and the Maruti Suzuki Baleno have been the car to beat in the segment, but they're only available in petrols. So, well, a comparison is kind of out of the question today. To be honest, you may get a little bit of buying advice on both these cars, but if you want to see us have just a little bit of fun with the Altross, stick around. Well, I'm sure this is looking a little odd, right? Safety first though. And I've been dying to get into this car since Karthik was raving about both its handling, its nice chassis, and its ride quality. So what we've done today is decided to put the Altross to two challenges. And we're off to challenge number 1 right now. This is a corner on a closed private road to keep things safe. We'll start accelerating towards the corner and entering it at a set speed. We'll start at 40 km per hour and increase the speed by 10 km per hour on each subsequent run. To up the difficulty level, we've marked the ideal line with cones on the outside, so the corner stays tight and consistent for each car. We'll do this 3 times and see which one can hold its line as the speeds increase. Okay, so we're ready to roll and we're going to go into the corner now, trying to keep the speed at 40 km per hour, and this is the first run in the Toyota Glanza. Well, here goes. So 40 kilometers, the first corner, the Glanza did pretty well. I was able to keep the line, and the steering is a little on the light side, so you're not really confident about what's happening at the wheels. But 40 kilometers, no problem. Okay, now for run number 2, we're going to up the speed, and this run's going to be now at 50 kilometers per hour. So 50 made that corner feel quite tight, and the Glanza drifted a little wide, understeered a little bit offline. I think I may have killed one of the cones. Well, run number 3 now, and we're going to up the speed now to 60 kilometers per hour. Hope I don't kill any more cones. If 60 kilometers per hour was, if 50 kilometers per hour was a challenge, 60 was always going to be too much for the Glanza, and I think I killed 2 cones this time. Damn. So the Glanza probably didn't do that well. Its light controls means that it's more at home in the city or even a long highway drive for that matter. It's also one of the first hatches to make the most of those sub 4 meter rules, giving passengers a lot of space on the inside. In terms of design, yes, it is now showing its age a little, but it's still nicely spec'd in terms of features. And these points have made this, well, the Glanza and the Baleno, a clear leader of the segment. Now it's time for the Altross to take on the corner. The Glanza only managed one clean run at 40 km per hour. Will the weight of the diesel engine up front cause the Altross problems? Will it run wide? Only one way to find out. So we're in the Tata Altross now, starting off with its runs. First run, 40 km per hour. At 40 kmph, the Altroz feels quite nice. The steering is nicely weighted and I feel I can keep a nice tight line through that corner. Okay, time for run 2 now, 50 kilometers per hour. Well, 50 kilometers was not much of a problem for the Altroz either. Roll is nicely controlled, it's turning into the corner still very nicely, but I think we're getting close to the limit. Time for round 3 now, 60 kilometers per hour. Let's see how it does. I think 60 kilometers is pushing the limit, both of that corner, the grip from the tires, as well as that nice tight line we've set for it. And another cone bites the dust. So the Altroz may have killed a cone on the last run, but considering that the Glanza ran wide both at 50 kilometers per hour and even destroyed 2 cones on the 60 kilometer per hour run, there's no doubting which car's the winner of this test. So there's a number of factors at play in this test, like the grip from the tires or the weight of the diesel in the Altroz. And we're not really trying to be scientific here, but this challenge at least proves one thing, that the Altroz can hold its own around corners. The second challenge is aimed at testing out the ride quality of the 2 cars. We've picked a bad stretch of a country lane for this. Not really typical of city roads, except during the monsoons. In the monsoons, this stretch would actually be welcomed in some cities. Still, it's rough and has a fair few undulations, and taken at 30 kilometers per hour, the cars are in for a challenge. The Glanza is a comfortable city car, and its soft suspension does a good job of insulating passengers from smaller undulations and road imperfections at lower speeds. On the test stretch, it was the quieter of the two, with less noise from the broken surface and rattling from the loose change in the cup holders. But over the large bumps on this piece of road, there was a lot of movement in the Glanza, and it took a lot more time to settle down after those bumps as well. The Altroz, on the other hand, tackled the large bumps easier. There was far less movement in the cabin, and it settled down almost immediately afterwards. But the stiffer suspension setup also meant that the loose surface and coins in the cup holders were a lot more audible in the Altroz's cabin. Still, in our experience in the city over regular roads, the noise insulation in the Altroz is comparable with the Glanza. But when it comes to handling rough stuff, speed breakers and potholes, the Altroz just glides over them without a complaint. It really is a rough road king. The Altroz is a nice handling car, and it takes forward the big steps made by the Nexon in dynamic abilities. The steering is nicely weighted, it's nice and confident on the brakes, and roll is nicely controlled. What this chassis does need though is better engines. Yes, this diesel is fairly nice when it comes to NVH, and if you're just driving in the city or on the highway, you won't have any complaints. It's just when you try to exploit that nice chassis that it fails to respond to your inputs. There's a lot of throttle lag, gear slotting slowly, and there's a big gap between the time you press down the throttle and when the engine actually responds. And so to sum things up, we did think from our very short first drive that the Altroz would both be able to handle corners as well as rough roads with admirable aplomb. And these 2 challenges have proved just that. What we would like from Tata though is to give us the engine and transmission that they promised us at that first drive. A turbo petrol and a dual clutch automatic. That turbo petrol should complement that chassis really well, and the dual clutch automatic will compete with the nicely rounded CVTs in the segment. Of course, we'll have a full road test up on the website right now where you can come to know both its performance and how it is to live with on an everyday basis. And if you want to see both these cars compared, then head over to Car Dekho, where we have compared them on a practicality front. Of course, like, subscribe and share the video. And let us know in the comments if you liked fun content like this, and we'll try and get you more of it.